Hello, how you doing? I am driving back from Occupy and I'm going to be talking while someone in the seat or the car next to me probably looks at me, but oh well, that's okay. Anyway, my today's topic is the fact that I was at a brilliant school today. I was at Discovery One. Now Discovery One is an alternative learning school. Alternative in the sense that it's not, children are not forced to do things within an authoritarian kind of matrix that we live in. The children learn at their own pace. They also learn what they're actually interested in. And the teachers are not teachers, they're learning assistants. The children do the self-education approach. And they're just guided in the right direction. And it's just brilliant. I arrived, I was nervous because I was like, oh, I know this is a different school. And I was like, oh, how indoctrinated am I? How stuck in the system am I when it comes down to being able to teach these children? Because I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to be a normal teacher while I was there. And I ended up being in my environment, which is even better. The environment that I actually try to make happen in my normal situations and normally can't because the children are not part of the system. Now, I was having a chat to a teacher about this, and the children, when the children go to this and they're just in an environment, they are just in their natural environment, you could say. Children that are in mainstream schools are forced into an environment that the adults want them to be in, which is what the system wants them to be in. So the discussion kind of led to start with that, hey, these kids, I was like, well, how do the children cope with being in the school? And it wasn't the kids that weren't coping, it was the parents that didn't cope a lot of the times. And it was mainly due to the fact that children, this is their natural environment. They don't have to relearn anything to go into this environment. The kids already know this. It's the adults who have to relearn. And that's the thing. We are making an environment that is so far off from itself in the educational terms. And this here was just so good to be in. The children, to start with, absolute respect. There was no issues. They're there because they want to be there. If they don't want to be there, they won't go and they'll do home learning. They had work they could do because it was the work that there's self-learning activities, and they'd go off and they'd go on the internet and they'd find what they needed to do and they'd document it through video or through writing or through a presentation of some sort. And this was the learning. They were learning what they wanted to learn, and because it was what they wanted to learn, they were focusing so much more. When they decided they couldn't be bothered anymore, just like an adult in an office block, they tinkered off. They weren't forced at any stage to actually do anything. They did what and when they wanted to. They come up and ask, oh, can we go outside? And it was like, yeah, go for it, because that's the environment. At a normal mainstream school, it's like, no, stay here. But that's the thing. It's not the environment that's been made for them in a mainstream school, but that's what I'd love for it to be when I was in that environment. But the thing is, they are getting away so they can just go away for that little break that their mind needs. And then they come back and they're straight on to work, straight away. But it was the attitude of them. I had a year 6, 7, 8 class, and they were just amazing children. Actually, I shouldn't say children. They were young adults in every sense of the word of it. They were using their reasoning skills, and that's the thing with teachers. They don't use it. Some parents, they don't use their reasoning skills or reasoning, I should say skills. They don't teach the kids the reasoning. So they don't develop the skills. But the teachers, adults and teachers, they don't use reasoning enough with the children, and so a lot of times it's because they don't want to have the reasoning of a child, because they don't want to be beaten. But the thing is, that is where real learning is. If you lose in a reasoned discussion by a child, you lose. It doesn't matter what authority you have over that person. Who cares? And this school is just amazing. I so badly want to go there more. Hopefully I'm on their list. It was just so good. Just their attitude, because they were there, and it didn't take them long. There was one kid there that I've dealt with at another school, and it was her very last day at one of the schools I was at, and she told me that she was going to Discovery 1, and I was like, awesome, I'll see you there sometime, because hopefully I'll get there. And I seen her, she come running out to me, and I nicknamed her Texas, because she's actually from Texas, and I called her at the other thing, and I asked her, oh, so what are you doing here, what are you learning? She said, oh, nothing, we're playing all the time. But that's the thing, they don't realise what they're really learning. For instance, I ended up seeing her later on outside with one of the learning assistants creating the garden. This is just fun and games for them, but they were outside helping build the landscape of the garden. It's just beautiful. It's no hard out structure to enforce someone to do something. It's learning. And the best thing about this is the technology. This is technology that's actually implying this, because they can use computers. They use Khan Academy for maths in the older age group. And I love Khan Academy. But tying this all into my philosophy that I have, and it's not just my philosophy, it's the philosophy of, like, I was wanting this type of teaching when I was in teachers college, because that's one reason why I didn't want to be a full-time teacher, because I just can't agree with what's happening in that system. Yet I could be a full-time teacher at this school, but then coming back to the Zeitgeist movement and things like the Venus Project, this school is the environment of a resource-based economy. This is how people learn in the future, and it's not just the children, it's the adults are learning part of it. It's a community aspect, because the parents are involved too. This, and what they have at Discovery 1, is the way education needs to be everywhere. Not in an area where we're run by so-called unit standards, set out by a government that has no idea what they're doing, because they're not listening to the actual people that are in the actual environment. This is the way that needs to be done. Oh, I just need to get in there more and actually learn more about it. And it wasn't from the teachers or the adults that were there. I was learning from the children, and the children themselves were so eager to learn. That was the best part. They loved it. There was a girl there, she's only 12 or 13, and she's written her own novel. It's got 25,000 words, and she's getting help from her mother, and they use their imagination. They've got so much going for them. It's just brilliant. I'm rambling, kinda, but yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, see ya.